Hello, everyone. This is Jason with OTPG on the Play Games, and thank you for joining us for another Spotlight conversion deck for new players, our guide to making roughly $50 decks. All right, we got three pillars that we try to hit with these videos. One, we want to make the deck cost between 50 and 60 bucks. We want to stay true to the Spotlight decks theme. And then we also want to make the deck kind of fun or make a deck that can steal a win or two from PQ decks. And I think we've got that achieved with this week's deck. Before we get into introducing that deck, though, I want to bring attention to the subscribe button down at the bottom. It does need your attention. If you're not currently subscribed, please do so. YouTube just hit us with some terrible news when it comes to reaching the milestones for monetization. They're not doubling everything, just blanket 100% increase to everything starting February 1st. Our goal is to keep things free, all content free, and they just made it really difficult to do so. And we have like about 173 days to get to where we need to go. So please like, share, subscribe. Sharing is awesome. These videos also are tailored to a much smaller audience. They're beginning about 50 viewers. So those of you that are enjoying them, please watch them to the end. Your viewing time is like gold to us. It is the cheapest thing for you to be able to give to the channel so that we can reach those milestones as quickly as possible. Right now, we're trying to get 4,000 viewing hours in about 175 days. So it's going to be quite the challenge. I think we'll get to the 500 subscribers before that happens. But with that all said, this content for the video, for this deck, if you want to see some gameplay, all you have to do, join our Discord. It's in the description below, the link for it. And if it doesn't work, just leave a comment. I check the comments. I will make sure that there's a link replied to you to get you into the Discord. And then just message me directly, and we can get your email and get you added to a list so that you can view not only this video content of gameplay, but also future content. I have to keep it private. I do not share it on the actual open channel because FFG frowns upon that, and we are trying to be part of their community content developers, content developer community. And that would be, huge. If we fail to get that, I'm going to open up the floodgates and we're going to go ahead and go with the content as other creators already do. All right. Because people love seeing gameplay. And I'm one of those people too. I watch a lot of other content creators playing these decks online. So anyway, I am switching gears. This is the deck that we are working on. And that is the Jabba the Hutt from A Lawless Time. We are working backwards. We've already finished the Ashes of the Empire decks. We're now going backwards and we'll end at Jump to Lightspeed, looking at those decks. And this deck was fun, but also a little bit, I had a hard time trying to keep inside the budget with what I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of go blue, splash the Sarlacc pit because you could still use it, and go with an improvised identity deck that kind of was closer to what the Armorer is playing. But the Lots Razzies are $20 right now. Insane. And I had to actually make a couple changes from the deck that I recorded gameplay with. I had a couple of, not Craving Power. Yeah, it was Craving Power. Or Cruel. Oh my, hold on a second. I got to get this right in my head here. Event. Not event, upgrade. Yeah, it was Craving Power. I had to take the Craving Powers out. I had two Craving Powers, and they were $8 a piece. I'd ate up like half of what my budget is, and that was already pushing me too far. So had to make that change. And in doing so, I went up on two cards. I'll let you know what those are in just a second. This is the original deck. I just basically took this, loaded an SWUDB, got this list, played it somewhere between 15 and 20 times. Kind of get an idea of like what's weak, what actually holds its weight, and ended up on this list. Notice I made this an improvised identity list. it has a little fun in the tricks there. Like, you never know what you're going to flip, right? But I did have to invest in some of the more expensive cards in malls. And then the improvised identity, I think one of them was like $3.50. And I also added, as a way to get the improvised identity, the master code breaker. Improvised identity is a gambit. Master code breaker is an underworld unit. Jabba the Hutt picks up underworld units. So it made sense to keep reusing the master code breaker from like turn 1 to start digging for the improvised identities. Now, for the most part, I would put improvised identity on a Jabba the Hutt. So there were certain cards like the Corsair here. Because Jabba's an underworld unit, his damage is now unpreventable. So I could go into things like Queen Amidala, kill her, and take out a spy token all in one attack. And they couldn't stop me from killing the Queen Amidala because it's unpreventable damage. I actually had an opponent in a game where I lost. I didn't like record it. It was one of the earlier ones where they sacrificed one of their spy tokens thinking that they could stop Queen Amidala from taking the damage from Jabba, and she ended up dying anyway. Now they got to take the play back, but you know, it's what it was. It was interesting. That's when I realized, oh, this is kind of a cool card to have in the list. Other things that are underworld units are going to be these the lurking and the snub fighter. Being able to pick these up and keep locking something down with the lurking snub fighter, and then the snub fighter squadron. Being able to like ping a unit, attack into a unit. If it lives, I can pick it back up, ping another unit, attack into a unit. Really works really well against those Vader lists and space lists where like their play only, like one of their units only has like 2 power. Okay. Or like Boba Fett, where you can like ping a unit and then kill off their bomber and your unit doesn't die. You know, those kind of things were useful. Boba Fett, that on attack trigger, proved itself to be useful over and over again. Plus, if you have Jabba deployed and you play him using a credit token, he gets that ambush, you get the double trigger, you have to do 6 points of damage in 2 separate instances of damage. So you can knock a shield off and take out a Imperial Armor Commando, and your Boba Fett continues to live. All really cool stuff. And this deck, I felt like, had enough tricks to be fun. And the discard that's in this, so you got the Grindians and the Hold for Questioning, were enough to where there's multiple games where I have where like I'm pulling out Chimeras, I'm pulling out Pre-Vizslas, because those were the cards that I just, every match I recorded was a Chimera Pre-Vizsla match. You know, I had Dedra playing them. I had Lando playing them. I had, I think one of the recordings I have is the Cad Bane Blue playing them. There's another deck that I can't remember right off the top of my head now that I played, but all the matches were fun because I was able to pull those units out, and I could use things like Double Cross to steal them from them, and you know, keep manipulating back and forth with a deck that cost as much as a Chimera. You know, there's several times in the recorded videos where I'm like, you know, I got a $50 deck and I just played up against $200 worth of cards and 4 cards in my opponent's deck. That is a hard challenge to overcome. And so I ended up making the last video, which was a loss against a Lando Blue list. And I was like 1 action away from being able to defeat him with his own Bo-Katan. And I have to look at the video to kind of refresh my memory, but I think I had no unit to play. I had to play a unit so that I would be able to do a double cross. And that allowed him to claim the initiative. And I was going to take 12 points of damage to my base, which I had like 17 or something like on my base. But had I had 1 unit survive against the Bo-Katan, I would have been able to double cross it, steal his Bo-Katan. And at least in the conversation I had, he led me to believe he didn't have an answer for it. And I was pressing his hand hard. Like there was times where he had no cards in hand. So I felt really good about the hand disruption package, even though it's only 6 cards in the deck. But the ability to play a Grendan and then use Jabba the Hutt to pick it up and then play it again and just keep pressuring their hand is pretty cool. And then double cross, when they do put something out big, like take it and give them some, unit that really isn't that great in comparison. Because the low end on this deck is really, really low. It really is. The Maul, if you notice, I got the splash base in there as well. The Maul, I can play it on curve or even before the curve with some credit by using the splash base. There's a bit of a nombo or non-combo. Jabba the Hutt's leader side ability is an action, not a static ability. Meaning that for me to be able to get the ambush with Maul, I have to pay the aspect penalty. So I don't get to use the splash base and Jabba the Hutt's ability, because I have to resolve one completely before I can use the other ability. And that kind of stinks. If they worded Jabba the Hutt's ability instead of being an action, it was a static ability that, underworld units played from your hand have ambush, and just worded it without it being an action, would have been able to use a splash base. But this deck stays very true to the theme of the Spotlight deck. That's underworld units being returned to the hand, getting maximum value from that. The Master Code Breaker being a great example, the Grendon being a great example, the Doorbuster being a great example. Plus, you have things like the Doorbuster that are in the deck that are just like alternative cards that can get flipped over when you're when you're activating the action from the improvised identity. That at least gives you a restore 1, right? So there is some reasoning behind that. The use of, oh my goodness, why Salacious Crumb? Sorry, he has raid too, so that at least gives raid. As you're attacking in. The Corsair is giving you 2 points of damage that is non-preventable and makes Jabba or whatever underworld unit I'm attacking with, their damage unpreventable. All right. Same attacking with Boba Fett. That 3 points of damage is now unpreventable when I attack with it. Pretty sweet. So all in all, I felt like the deck was pretty fun. Met that. Got very, very close to stealing a win from the Lando deck. And that one was definitely a very close copy to these PQ decks that you see doing well in the current season. The Dedra deck, it did okay. Dedra just kept getting all the good stuff, the Previsibles and the Chimeras, just over and over and over again. And there's only so much I can do there, But maybe taking out the 2 Craving Powers, I upped the double cross and I up to 3, and I moved the Shin Hati's up to 3. And I think in doing that, having that extra double cross might even be better than the Craving Power in this particular list, because there's so many. Like, I don't mind giving a Grendon over to my opponent, even though I could pick it back up. I don't mind. Shin Hati's, I don't mind. Okay, especially when I can return it to my hand with things like the Tree Forgets. So that is definitely a card. I might actually would want to put a Tree Forgets, so I've got a full 6 to capitalize on with Gambits. But if you're interested in the gameplay, all you got to do is click on the link down in the description to join our Discord. Then find me, very easy, OTPG Jason Killian, and I'll be absolutely happy to add your email to the list of people that can view these private videos. I am not going to upload the video until I have at least one person ask for it. And so then, I'm leaving it up to y'all on whether or not I do the extra legwork, because these videos do take extra time. I got to play test. I got to then modify the deck. I got to then play test those modifications to see if they're any good, and then try to work around any kind of hiccups I got in the deck. And then I got to go back and take a look at the cost of the cards on TCG, which is something I need to show you real quick. I've almost stepped aside. This is what it came out to, $32.19. So you're talking about $57 this deck costs. And you've got cards like the Master Code Breaker, which was in the last Planetary Qualifier season with Lando. You've got the malls, which are currently played in the armor, and then you get solid cards that are currently played, and no individual one is that expensive. Maybe the malls a little bit, improvised identity a little bit, but most of this stuff like the Grendons and stuff, you should be able to get those free in your community just by showing up to the shops and being part of organized play. You'll eventually crack most of this stuff, so just kind of keep that in mind. That even though this came out to $32, you can actually get that price even lower. Okay. With that said, this is Jason with OTPG on the Play Games, and whether it's day or night, may the force be with you. And until the next one, have a great one.